Good morning, everybody. How are you all? Hope you are doing great today. So, together we will work on this problem today. A random sample of 1,678 children was taken to determine ice cream choices. The table shows their responses. So, we have four kinds of ice cream types: chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, other, and we have number of children in each who selected each category. Based on the above data, which of the following is a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of all children who did not vote for chocolates? Okay, so this is a problem on confidence interval. So first I have to find out the sample proportion of children who did not like chocolate. In order to do that, first, we will calculate the sample proportion of children who selected chocolate, and that will be equal to p hat is equal to x over n. X is the number of children who selected chocolate as their favorite divided by total sample size of 1,678. So p hat works out to B, I'll use my calculator in this case. 733 divided by 678. 1678 rather. And that is equal to 0.44, you might say. But we are not interested in the sample proportion of children who selected chocolate. Rather than we are interested in sample proportion of children who did not select chocolate. So sample proportion of children who did not select chocolate will be the complement of sample proportion is complement of sample proportion of children who selected chocolate. Who selected chocolate. So that will be equal to the sample proportion of children who did not select chocolate, who did not select chocolate because because we know the proportion of children who selected chocolate, the sample proportion of children who did not select chocolate will be 1 minus 0.44, complement, being the complement is 0.56. Okay, so immediately you can see our answers will be limited to parts either choice C, choice D, or choice E. So the sample proportion of children who did not select chocolate is 0.56. Okay, that is 0.56. Okay, so population proportion of children who did not select chocolate will be equal to sample proportion plus minus margin of error. Please do not quit right away. Please watch me until the end of this video. I'll definitely recap the entire solution. I will also give you some important tips. Okay, so the question is how to find the margin of error. Okay, so so margin of error is E is equal to critical value of Z times standard error. Now, critical value of Z for 95% confidence interval is 1.96. Okay. And standard error which is same as the standard deviation of sampling distribution of p hat. Sampling distribution. So standard error is given as square root of p hat times 1 minus p hat divided by n. In our case, our p hat is 0.56. So let me erase that. So, and let me go back to this ink. So if I move up a little bit, p hat is the sample proportion of children who did not select chocolate. And previously we showed that p hat is equal to 0.56. Our sample size n equal to is the total sample size of the sample, which is 1678. 1678. So n is 1678. And standard error is equal to square root of 0.56 left parenthesis 1 minus 0.56 right parenthesis whole thing divided by n, which is 1678. And that is, we have to use the calculator to do that calculation. So we will do second x square, which gives us the square root on TI-84. Inside the square root 0.56, left parenthesis 1 minus 0.56, right parenthesis divided by sample size of 1678. And the answer is 0.012. Hence, margin of error is critical value Z critical times standard error, which is 1.96 times 0.012, and that is equal to 0.024. 024. Hence, if I move this a little bit up, hence, 95% confidence interval for the population portion of children who did not select chocolate is is p hat plus minus margin of error plus minus margin of error, which is 0.56 plus minus 0.024. Now, if we go back and look at the option choices, and that is part D. So this is the correct answer. Correct answer choice is D. So I'll stop here, but before I stop here, let me recap the whole thing and also go over some important tips. Okay. So first it said that its sample size is 1678, give the different categories of flavors of ice cream that children liked, but they want us to calculate the 95% confidence interval for the proportion of all children who did not vote for chocolate. That means who did not like chocolate. So first we find out what is the proportion of children who voted for chocolate. That is plain 733 divided by sample size of 1678 is 0.44. Now we will use the complement rule. So the complement event, which is children who did not favor chocolate, will be the probability of that, or proportion of that is 1 is the total minus the probability of the complement or proportion of the complement event, which is 0.44. So the proportion of children who did not like chocolate is 1 minus 0.44, which is 0.56. But that's the sample proportion. Now we're going to calculate the 95% confidence interval. So the 95% confidence interval is the sample proportion plus minus margin of error. Now, what is margin of error? It is the critical value of z times standard error. You ask me what is standard error? Standard error is the standard deviation of the sampling distribution of sample proportion p hat. And the critical value of z for 95% confidence interval is 1.96. Now, the standard error of the sampling distribution is given by this formula, square root of p hat times 1 minus p hat over n. Now, we already know the value of p hat. Percentage of children who did not like or did not select chocolate is 0.56. So inside the square root, how do I get the square root? I use TI-84 calculator. Second x square gives me the square root. Inside the square root, I type 0.56. Left parenthesis 1 minus 0.56 divided by sample size of 1678, and it's 0.012. Hence, the margin of error is the critical value of z, which is 1.96 for 95% confidence interval, multiplied by standard error, which is 0.012, and that works out to 0.024. So the 95% confidence in the confidence interval for the population proportion of children who did not select chocolate is sample proportion, which is 0.56 plus minus margin of error, which is 0.024. Correct choice is D as in David. I stop here today. You can write me a note. Please write me a comment if you like my video. Please write me a question if you have any question. Be sure I will be answer those questions as soon as I can. But please do not forget to write me a comment if you like this video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you did not like this video, give me a thumbs down and learn from my mistake and improve on the next video. If you like this video, share with your friends. You and your friends, please subscribe to my channel, Math Science Topia, by hitting the red subscribe button. So you please subscribe to my channel by hitting the red subscribe button at the bottom right corner. And please do not forget to watch me tomorrow when I'll be back with another interesting problem, interesting solution. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a nice day.